2012 was a memorable year for many of us. Legal advances in marriage equality for same-sex couples, and the presidential election, to name a few. Roberta Gonzalez-Gregg, Christine Hancock, Alice Heimsoth, Jay Rayleigh, Johnny August, Bare Chest Zitch, and I, fully clothed, are gathered together to look back at some of our favorite stories from last year and from our 25-year archive. So, Christine, what are some of your favorite stories from last year?
Pride is always one of my favorite segments, both San Francisco and San Jose. They're very different, but both a great time. Such a different crowd coming out. San Francisco's just crazy. San Jose is a little more low-key.
San Francisco Pride, I mean, it is one of our cherished segments, and I have to admit, I like that a lot. You do great editing there, Raymond, too, so thank you. Exactly.
Yes, indeed. Here. I'd love to see the Dyke March, though this year, unfortunately, I did miss it. But Alice, she made it, and she can talk a little bit about that. But you know, it's fun to see our sisters shining and marching and just doing it all. You go, girls.
Those loud engines roaring.
Let's take a quick look at that.
The first Dyke March started when gay women stepped into the forefront of the LGBT community when the AIDS epidemic was decimating the gay male population. Realizing their strength in numbers, lesbians nationwide converged on the nation's capital the evening before the March on Washington.
I remember being in the whole mix trying to take pictures and video camera, and I'm in the middle, and there's good old Sista Boom, and I'm right there in the middle of the drummers, and it was wonderful, and it was especially memorable because my godson recently came out as a gay man, and he wore "I love lesbians." And he came to the Dyke March and he danced with all of us.
Oh, terrific.
Nice.
What a fun thing.
So it was memorable.
I was on a float during the Pride, so I wasn't with you guys, but I saw the episode. It's actually one of the most fun to watch because even the hosts are in the moment and everything. And but yeah, I was in the parade on a float, which we stepped off 3 hours late.
I saw the pictures of your float, and you've got the full picture of all of you on the back, like Johnny, Mr. August, 10 feet tall.
And bare-chested, I take it.
Yes.
Oh, of course.
Speaking of the Dyke March, they're also looking for new leaders for the upcoming march. So if anyone's interested in volunteering, you can contact them at thedikemarch.org.
The march was a lot of fun, and I don't know. I didn't really like that comparison to Elliot Spitzer, but we'll let that go. Don't let it happen again.
Well, now that you mention it, let's take a look at the shot there.
No.
Roberta, what are some of your memorable moments?
I have to agree. The prides are some of the best. They always stand out. But it's nice in here when we do the shoots here in the studio. We had some wonderful artists who brought in some of their artwork, and that was really nice to see live here and have them discuss their artwork, including our own Alice, who brought some of her own and talked about hers. It's really good to see the diversity of our community and the people who are so creative in our community.
Oh, like Tommy and Alan photography.
Exactly. Really nice. And there was photography, there was some hand-painted art pieces, and even some authors. We had some good authors aboard who came to speak about their work. David Harvey was one in particular, a gay pastor who spoke out about being gay and homosexuality in the Bible. Quite informative.
And Johnny, which ones were your favorite, aside from the ones where you were bare-chested?
I don't know if those are my favorite, but, but like I said, Pride's always a good one. I was there on the set when you guys did the AIDS quilt in the Castro, where it came back and they opened up in the old Tower Records. Wherever it goes, you can have 1,000 people there and you won't hear a single word other than the names being called.
Let's take a look at that
Very
segment.
touching.
The atmosphere inside the former Tower Records store in the Castro was somber as names of friends and relatives were read out loud. Quilts measuring 3 feet by 6 feet, the dimension of an individual cemetery plot, were on display on the walls and floors. Some of the names were recognizable.
You know, when you talk about history, it's one thing to talk about it and say such and such happened, but to see the actual footage
To really
and
see
see what was going on really brings it home and ties it in.
I think we have one of the few pieces of footage of the riot that happened at the state building.
I remember seeing that.
Right, when Governor Pete Wilson vetoed AB 101.
Right, I remember that.
Right,
that was amazing. They were crashing through with that would never happen today because there's video cameras everywhere, right? So they would know who did all that. But that was amazing. Yeah.
Right, let's take a look at that.
Yes.
I think it's an outrage. How can you possibly veto anybody's civil rights? To think that anybody would be less equal to get a job in this state is an outrage, and Wilson has got to go. I think he's trying to reach out to the radical right wing of the Republican Party.
The crowd then continued to a building on Golden Gate where Wilson had an office. Here, the demonstration turned violent, with protesters setting an office ablaze.
Shame! 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 Shame!
Well, there was some lesser political footage that we saw. I saw an old one of Paul Falworth doing bungee jumping. It's fun. It was fun back in those early days.
Right. Well, Paul was known to do some weird stuff that took a lot of courage. I think he jumped out of a plane as well, and I think we have some footage of that somewhere. But we haven't found that.
That'd be something to see.
Yeah, I do remember the bungee jumping. Let's take a look at that.
Oh, gosh.
I can think of one, the Rah-Rahs, the San Francisco
I
Rah-Rahs.
remember that was before they were the Rah-Rahs.
And now they are San Francisco Cheer.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Both men and women. I remember we did a segment on that, and they were like the Energizer bunnies.
They were.
I mean, for that, they were like the Union City Rah-Rahs?
No, they were Hayward.
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 Yeah, let's
That's
take
where-
a,
that's where they first started.
Let's take a
That's
look.
right.
Let's take a look at that.
Well, it was formerly the Hayward Rah-Rahs, and we've been together. This is our 10th anniversary. This squad, the Rah-Rahs 1990, has been together for 2 months right now.
I don't know if we're getting settled in our old age, but there were some pretty risque shots that they had. There was a lot of skin exposed on some of those old footages, and I'm wondering if we could still get away with that I saw, you know. I don't know. Oldies but goodies.
I love seeing how far the show's come since before I started and everything that's been with the old footage. And it's amazing the things that you could get away with then that you couldn't get away with now, or the things that you couldn't get away with now that you could get away with.
Right. Well, for me, one of the favorite stories is the ongoing Proposition 8 coverage.
Yes.
And
Still ongoing.
Yeah, that's still ongoing, and we do have a little segment from that. Let's take a look.
This decision acknowledges the pain of Proposition 8. This decision acknowledges that was wrong. It tells us that we should never have gone through what we went through in California in 2008 and what we've gone through in state after state after state, having a fundamental human right put up for a popular vote. That is wrong. And that is what this decision says. Fundamental rights are not up for a popular vote. And that is pure poetry.
how do you know this is truly a gay marriage decision? Inside Marilyn Monroe. Can you believe it? Marilyn Monroe, okay. Had Marilyn Monroe's film been called How to Register a Domestic Partnership with a Millionaire, it would have not conveyed the same meaning as How to Marry a Millionaire.
As you know, the Proposition 8 case is now going to the Supreme Court. So keep your fingers crossed.
Yes,
we'll have oral arguments, and then they'll come up with a decision in June of next year. So let's hope for the best.
Yes, we're all looking forward to a positive result on that.
Right.
Those of us who were squeezed in during 2008 for the marriage times.
You and Francoise did, didn't you?
Yes, Francoise and I got married at the Rotunda in San Francisco. It was a lovely day.
Now, I think two of you saw last month's Christmas video, but the three of you haven't, so we've got to show it to you. So, Nathan, can you roll the tape of the Christmas video?
More surprises.
I'm gonna kill myself. Help! Help! Ah! Whoa! Ah! How'd you fall in? I jumped in to save you. I'm your guardian angel. Oh yeah? Wish I'd never been born. Here's what things would be like without you. Take me home, pal. I ain't never seen you before in my life. Get the hell out of my bar. Honey, don't you know me? Who the hell are you? Your brother died. You went there to save him. Get me out of here! Yay! Hello, Bedford Falls! Merry Christmas, movie house! She did it! She told a few people you were in trouble and they went all over town telling money.
My big brother, the richest man in town.
Look, Daddy, every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
Atta boy, Clarence.
This is great.
Well, to start off the new year, we do have something with Roberta. So, can you do this?
Gangnam Style.
Oh, no.
Nathan, can you play that one?
Oh, no.
Oh no, it really is. Oh no. You can run, but you can't hide, Roberta.
You thought you escaped.
I was out of that other video.
Open Gangnam Style.
You're the star of your own video.
Open Gangnam Style. Gangnam Style. Open Gangnam Style. Sexy lady. Open Gangnam Style.
Who's that behind you? Whoa! Did you see those moves?
You speak good Korean, too. Well, thank you, everyone, for being here and for talking about your favorite stories from 2012 and from our 25-year archive. And to commemorate our 25 years, we have a little celebratory cheesecake here.
All right.
And thanks to all you for being part of our history. And here's to another 25 years.
Yay!
Yay!
And that's our show to get 2013 off to a great start. To find all our archive programs from the past several years of Outlook Video, point your web browsers to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/OutlookVideo. And click on the subscribe button to get future notification of all our new segments as we post them.
And you can friend us at Facebook at facebook.com/OutlookVideo. Outlook Video is made possible by support from viewers like you and talented volunteers, some behind the scenes and behind the cameras, whose names you'll see as we close, with scenes from Palm Springs Pride 2012 with a performance by Xavier Toscano. From all of us here at Outlook Video, thank you for watching, and we'll see you all next month. Bye for now, and Happy New Year!
Happy New Year!